So I'm going to put a lift on my side-by-side. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm working with and how it's going to be cheap. I am working with this right here, the Kawasaki 800. It seems to be a pretty good machine. I just literally got it, and I figure, well, let's check out my lift options. So possibly some maybe bigger tires to get over some stuff a little bit better, you know, just a little bit better. The sad thing is the tires are really nice on this, but let me show you. I kept seeing these lifts, these ones right here. All right, they range anywhere from $300 to $70. So I looked at everything high and low to figure out what was best for me, and I went with the $70 set. Why? Because they're all the same. The $300 set, the $250 set, the $198 set, and the $60 set are all the same thickness of metals. There might be a little bit drill difference, but it's all the same thickness. It's all, you know, basically the same company, and they all come with the same hardware. So that's how they get you. You know, if you're paying $200-300 for this, then you're getting robbed. Because what we're going to do is we're going to install it and prove to see if this will bolt right up to this. And what this system will do is lift the suspension up just a little bit. Now, a lot of them say 2 and 2.5. So then again, we don't know exactly. So what I'm going to do is, let me see it. There it is. This is a tape measure right here. We'll give her some good bounces. That way everything's all leveled out. You know, lift her up a little bit, push her down. That way it doesn't lift up from the jack and then you're getting a misreading. I will go from this block to the top part of the brush guard. All right, we'll see exactly where it's at. Now it's not quite 28, but it's close enough. First things first, you just take that bolt out, that nut and bolt. That is a 14 millimeter, and it came out very easily. Now that one, the threads are facing behind, as it should. And this one, the threads are facing this way. They shouldn't be facing that way, just because dirt, mud, rocks are prone to come up this way and smack into it. That would damage the threads, making it almost impossible to get off without power tools. You gotta relieve the pressure and jack it up. If you don't have one of these jacks, these off-road jacks, I suggest you get one because they're awesome. You only want to lift it just a little bit, especially if you have like heavier tires than this. You have to drop it back down probably to take some tension off. But right now there's a lot of weight on that bolt system right there. But yeah, that jack is awesome. And if it doesn't reach from there, this is a puck on it, and I lift my Dodge Ram up with it without any problems whatsoever. It doesn't even strain. But anyhow, back to this. Lift it up, get that nut out, pull that bolt out. Mine came out really nice and easy. I just picked up the tire a little bit. All right, so that's, yeah, basically your stock height. Now you want to accommodate for the room you're going to be putting this thing in. So you want to jack it up just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just to get it raised up where you need it. You kind of eyeball it then. You just stick a sucker in there and then just gauge it. I looked all over trying to find something a little bit bigger than, you know, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, whichever one it is for this kind of system, and I couldn't find anything, and I think I know the reason why. Now, I'm ignorant to this stuff, so I don't know side-by-sides that well, or the suspension, how the suspension works in this, but I'll show you. There is a lot of tension, all right, whenever you drop that down. Do you see it bounce a little bit? That's a little bit of tension. So I reckon if you were to do like 3 inch, if you were to make your own brackets, that you would be causing a lot of friction and pitch angles for the negative, and you don't want to do that, because that's when you start breaking axles or worse. No, yeah, I can see why they only went 2 to 2.5. Now the main complaint that I heard people talking about these is they had to drill something out and they threw a tizzy. If you're willing to do something like this, you should have some drill bits. But that's besides the point. This just bolted right in. Didn't have a problem whatsoever. I did notice the stock bolt that went through here was a 14 and these are a 17. I'll show you the upgrade. All right, the con is this area, all right, in between, it took up some of the room of that steel. You see the thickness of that steel? So there's a kind of a gap. I just tightened it up and it pulled it into the shock. I would say put washers in between just because, but I didn't because I didn't feel like it. You can see the thickness of the steel versus the standard stuff. It's like 3 times thicker. I don't think we're gonna have a problem with any kind of breakage. And if we do, I'll just put this right back in the same spot. Always take tools with you on the trails. Now we're gonna drop it like it's hot. Oh, pull that out. Make sure I don't step in any dog stuff. Oh yeah, you can tell the difference right there. Just right there. That little bit of a lift. It's adorable. It literally took me 5 minutes. It took me an hour to find all the tools. Yeah. There you go. Now the same thing for the other side. You raise it up, slide this sucker in. See how that bolt goes right through there? No drilling needed. Now this is a little high, so I'll lower the jack. That'll go through, but first I'm gonna put the nut through there, the nut and bolt. Now I do know a little bit about the complainers, the criers. They say they gotta drill something out, but better yet, why drill it out when you can just grind the bottom a little bit? So if you have a grinder, that works even better. That way you're not oblonging this right here. So you can see it's not going the whole way through. It's too low here. You see the top part? Won't be able to get a nut the whole way through, or a bolt. So if we grind some of this off, that'll lower it and make it better. Now that you have that ground down, you definitely want to paint over that because that's exposed metal, or rusting, making your rig look like crap. You went this far, it's not that hard. I just painted a piece of cardboard and dipped this down in it. That way it's not overspray everywhere. Oh, there you go. That is the front. You can't tell unless you get it done. All right, let's do a tape measure thing here. First, let's step on it and try to make sure there's nothing, no pressure under the shocks or lack of. We're gonna go from this brick. What was it before? You gotta comment down below. I think it was like 28 something. Right there, almost 32. That's what we're looking at. And still down on that same brick. The wheeler has not moved. The UTV, it's still a 4-wheeler, still got 4 wheels, and it wheels. So side by side, whatever you want to call it, UTV. Just lucky I don't call it a PWC. Well, yeah, there you go. That's how much lift you gained out of that. Well, I'll show you my blooper that I did. That I got to take this bottom bolt out because I forgot to put this in there. And what that does is stop it from collapsing. I've noticed whenever I was starting to tighten that up, the stock ones were starting to come in a little bit. I'm like, well, that's not right. And this is what goes in between there. So all I gotta do is loosen that back up, and God willing, that's not collapsed too much. But if it is, I just spread it apart. Put this in between the bolt, and I'll show you. Yeah, I don't think you can see down in there, but yeah, what a bite! What a bite! Not too big of a problem. Well, it is down in there now. There you can see it. Oh, that was a bit of a chore because I collapsed them. I had to separate them. Yeah, well, live and learn. Now to the back. Now for the back, we're going to do the same thing. If there's any kind of load or something on the suspension, just push up and down. Really don't do much with myself on it, even though I'm a little heavy, but all right, we're just going to measure like the small block to this trailer hitch. We'll be able to see the difference for that. Small block to that. That's almost a foot, exactly. All right. Straight down. So, yeah, forgot to show the where my suspension is at on all four sides. So that is the back. I'll do the front. So the front's twisted down a little bit. So I mean, I could twist it all the way down here, give me even more lift, but it'll be really stiff then too. So yeah, I forgot to add that in. My apologies. Now the back, I took the tire off because I had a heck of a time trying to get that bolt out. I don't think anybody's taking it out because it was in there. These are 17 millimeters. Okay, one thing I have noticed, the difference between the front and the back is this has 3 bolts, but there's not, you know, the 3 bolt holes. I don't know what that's for, to make it more sturdy to where I do got to drill it out, or that's just for different models. Yeah, I'll see if there's any flex with the 1 bolt inside, but yeah, if it's a problem, then I'll just drill out and I'll put another, you know, bolt through that side. Well, let's test around here. Drop that down there and slide that in. On a side note for this thing, before you take the back tire or anything off, make sure you put something in front of the front tire, because when you pull that e-brake, that locks only the back. The front keeps pulling. I like to take chances, so I just left it alone. The jack is holding it up, but yeah. All right, back to this. It literally just slides right in beautifully, and without the tire on, it's easy to lift and lower to get that right. So it's kind of a pain to take it off, but at the same time, another thing I do notice is whenever we go to put these spacers in down in there, that this is boxed off here, and it's gonna be a bear, you know. So you're just gonna have to kind of slide it in there and then put the bolt in without the shock in yet. So in other words, you gotta get the shock out of the way and install this before you do that. I figured since I had things apart that I would go ahead and drill that in. The problem is trying to get to the other side. The axle's kind of in the way. Let me see if I can get the light. And I started drilling it, and I was like, I stopped, and I realized, you know what, I should test it first before I go and drill some. This, with this bolt in it, is going nowhere. I'm like, nowhere. There's nowhere for it to rock or anything, because the stock metal is right there, and it can't go that way because that's part of the frame. The same way with this. So you don't need to put or drill that through and put that second one in. Now, of course, I'll give it trial and error, but like I said, there's no way for that to go anywhere. And these things here are a lot bigger than the standard ones. The standard is 17 millimeter, and the newer stuff is, of course, 19. Now that's only the head bigness. That's not so much the shaft. The shafts are relatively the same, but like if it only had 1 bolt before, it'll be plenty fine. And now that I got that out, I'll show you. See, there's no way for it to go that way because it'll be hitting against that, and there's nowhere to rock because it'll be hitting against this. So it's like impossible for it to move. Even if it went out this way, it can't swing out that way because it'll be hitting this frame here, and on the other side the same thing. So once it's in here, I don't see the reason why that one there, unless this can fit multiple different kits, and that's the reason for that, because another kit or a different year might come with a lower bolt. So I'm gonna leave that one out, honestly. There's no reason for it. So there's that. Like I said, trial error. We'll find out on the trail. All right, I'm gonna go over this real quick again. I'm gonna delete a lot of footage I've already recorded because there's just way too many errors I was trying to figure it out. Okay, now you see this? You got that nice bolt that goes through there. It's, down and through there. You'll be able to see it like this, right? Well, you do that, and guess what? This arm is in the way. Okay, So what I do, you have to install this in first before you put the shock down in there, because once you put the shock down in there, you won't be able to get this piece down in there to keep that spread. All right, now don't tighten that up yet. Okay, now there's a problem here. See that? There's no area. The cool thing is these will fit down in there. So yes, you want your bolts to face out that way and not inwards. What I do, I put this thing through this and then tighten it up to squeeze these metal pieces together. That's why I said don't tighten that up yet. Now you just want to get a little bit, you want to get it a little tight. The reason for that is because there is a little clearance issues, and you do want to crush this a little bit. Now you do have room, all right, for the shock to fit in there, even if you crush it a little bit. Not a big deal, because you're taking up this area right here. For instance, you can see it's touching just a very little bit, but it's enough to it'll wear. So a little bit of crushy crush never hurt nothing. Like I said, a little crushy, not a lot. You're gonna have a lot of room in between that anyhow. Look at that. Perfect. Now it is perfect. It's not rubbing, and just like that, it is done. All right, well, put the tire back on and see what it looks like and get some measurements. That is the back end done. Yep, right there they are. So no rubbing, raised up. Well, let's figure out how much I raised it up. No. Alright, there's that block. You guys have to comment down below exactly what the original was. Oh, I forgot to step on it, make sure there wasn't a load. Sometimes when you lift the suspension up, it'll stay a little bit higher, gain an inch or so. So it's good to give her a good old step on. I believe the top was 12 inches. I think. This looks like 16.5 to me. Yeah, a little bit better light there. It's close to 16.5. That is down on that brick. There we go. Yeah, it's close to 16.5. Same brick, same little square brick. It did lurch a little forward, but you're seeing it right there. Well, comment down below what the measurement was before. I swear it was 12. So I mean, you do the math. that's a pretty nice lift. Well, let's give an overall side view. Ooh, boy, that definitely lifted this side up quite a bit. And for the front, kind of hard to tell, man. It is dark out now. I'm working on this thing here, but I'll have to get another video of it out in the daylight. The back is probably the biggest improvement. It definitely lifted the back quite a bit. Very pleased with that. It's not too high either, because it's right up a little about my waist, a little bit higher than my waist. There you go. I'll give more update videos.